Hello Neverwinter, we're going to start off with some Warlock footage from the Master Soul Harvest trial. This is a full Dreadnoughts Guild run once again, featuring Zarkon from Dethroned. If you're only here for the build video, skip ahead to 26-28. This build is not the exact build that I'm going to be showcasing, but it's just giving you a general idea of how Warlocks play in here. This trial is very, very good for a Warlock. Everything except Red Boss is pretty much everything you'd ever want to do playing on a Warlock. Yeah, that's about it really. Again, won't narrate the whole thing. Skip ahead to 26-28 if you want the actual build. Please click the like button, and if you haven't already, please subscribe, and thank you for watching.
Suffocate. Your life is mine to take. Darkness consumes. Death reigns from above. What is death but fear realized? For the master! Behold, darkness. Destroy you! Darkness consumes. For the master! Neverwinter fools! Fear the dark. What is death but fear realized? Neverwinter fools! The sky folds. Your life is mine to take. Destroy you! Your life is mine to take. Behold, darkness. Serve death! Fear the dark. What is death but fear realized? Death reigns from above. Destroy you! Your life is mine to take. Neverwinter fools! Glory is dead! For the masters! Your life force drains. Destroy you! And death! Glory and death! For the master! The sky falls. Glory! Fear the dark. Destroy you!
Yeah, I missed that one.
I see you. Neverwinter fools! Neverwinter fool! Destroy!
Souls of the damned died beckon thee! I alone can grant you salvation!
Neverwinter fools!
To the gate, hero! This way lies your salvation!
That was a pretty successful run.
See you.
I had a deathless green until I got that skull at the end.
What a mess I must appear.
Hello Neverwinter! Hopefully that was some riveting footage of some amazing Warlock DPS play. Here we have the build for Master Soul Harvester. it is going to be incorporating the new combat enchantment, but I'm not sure if that is the best build to be had for the Warlock at the minute. But we'll go through this one and then see how much time we've got. I might just show you the other build that I'm cooking up. Okay, so buffs are Flask of Potency, Prime Rib, Sunlord's Gift Elixir, and then I can't remember if it's Sorbet or Squash. Let me just check. Now, one of the things about Soul Harvester is that we need to build slightly differently because we are missing half of our companions for half of the fight. And obviously, if you're a crazy DPS chaser, like I know everybody is, you need to be able to figure out a way to balance out loss of stats with sort of plus damage things, so that we can maximize our damage potential within the short window that we will inevitably have. Right, okay, looks like it is watermelon that we're using. Yeah, so obviously once the, what do you call it? Once the combat enchantment kicks in, you only get half of this unless you're in a group. So we will be getting another somewhere around 6. So we get another 6 crit 7, another 6 combat advantage. And then obviously we get our power from the raptor. And once we do reunite with the rest of the team, we do get the rest of our companions in, so we get to get the rest of our stats. So I've actually been looking at a different rotation, which is maintaining the sparks a bit higher than I was previously. Seems to be quite a good way to generate AP as well. So this rotation is wait until your encounters come back, then throw your Scorch, then a Hellish Rebuke, and then you go back to Dark Helix, and then you just keep going like that. Okay. So as you can see from the stats there, we are slightly overcapped on the crit serve, slightly undercapped on the crit strike, slightly undercapped on the accuracy, which not ideal, but it works out in the end because we are running 2 damage overloads. And we do get that little boost from the extra item level on this. So this is using the new hood from this place, which will be a nice nice alternative for those of you who have not been able to get this celestial helmet. At some point I think it might be worthwhile seeing if we can get that Whisper Silk cowl into a build. But it is not this build. We're still using these Scintillate amulets. I've seen some people going around with the Detector's Choker, stuff like that. I don't know. Scintillate for me. We have the Sanguine Seal in this build, which is another 5% damage in Thay. This build would have been a hell of a lot easier if we were just using a stat ring. But we are not. And the extra 5% damage is noticeable. Chest piece as best one that we can do right now, in my opinion. There's definitely a build out there for the celestial chest piece, but I don't know. I haven't figured it out yet. Using the gauntlets of the Wrathborn. Now, there are times in the dungeon where these are going to be much less useful. Obviously, 3rd phase boss, there's mobs everywhere, so you're going to be missing that 8% accuracy regardless. You could conceivably slot this into the build instead, but you'd probably have to drop the damage ring or one of the damage overloads. Rot Steel Ring of Spores, this is a crit strike thing. This does take quite a while to ramp up, so if you're prone to dying, that ring is not going to be for you. Might want to think about swapping it out for the submission, which stacks up a lot quicker. But I usually end up with far too much accuracy if I try and slot that in. Second half of the Scintillate Sash. Now here's the bad boys. These are hands down, without a doubt, the best weapons you can currently equip. Certainly on the Warlock. Obviously, if you see my healer build, I've still got it set up with the Infernal Barrier, but obviously for the DPS side, you'd switch that to Dark Helix. And just the combined level of stats you get from these things is outrageous. Plus the additional modifications, so yeah, hands down. I don't usually run the crystal, that just happens to be what's on here now. Obviously you're going to have to put in whatever you are told to by your queue leader, and then adjust your stats accordingly. I'm still using these 2 sets, similar to the MSOD build, because the alternatives just aren't currently there really. Yeah, there's no shirts that are particularly better than that one, and there's no pants either. See, the problem with, even if you equip these and you think, hey, well, it's close enough on the combat advantage, you'd lose the set bonus. So you lose an extra 2 combat advantage on top of the combat advantage that you're already losing. And then these are just obviously the highest item level ones that we have. And the Threads of the Archthroat. There is a build out there for the damage boots. But unless you're very good at staying alive, if you run these boots and you die more than like once or twice, everybody's going to think it's these boots and they're going to think you're an arsehole for running them. So, you know, be aware. Intelligence and dexterity still. Those are our two. Well, intelligence is our primary one, and then we like dexterity for the movement speed and the extra crit serve. We don't need the forte from the charisma, and we don't really need the recharge speed either, because we're warlocks. Okay, I actually got I got a couple of these enchants from doing the experiment, so I decided just to put them in to make my stats a bit more easy to split. Defensive stat wise, I think defense is probably the go-to for the warlock in here, because obviously we already have quite a lot of awareness. So about overloads. The bosses in this dungeon are both fiends and demons. We have tested this. Both of these proc. You might get better luck or better damage with a Rage of Flames over the second fiend or demon. But you know, you can experiment with that. Yeah, so this is the new combat enchantment. I don't think it really fully works, to be honest. I'm kind of bending the build around the enchantment instead of slotting the enchantment in, which is not ideal. Just on the subject of stats, so due to the fact that half of the battle is spent without those additional companions, there is a lot of damage to be made and lost within the first 2 phases. So if you are dramatically, if you built like you were for MSOD, then you're going to be too far under cap, basically, unless you get quite lucky in the companion sort of spread that you get, which is fine if you're happy to just have the occasional amazing run. But if you want to get some consistency, what you're going to need is to increase probably mostly your combat advantage above higher than where it would usually be. So obviously in a previous build you would only need 104%, as we've got here, but as we know our combat enchantment gives us an additional around 6%, so we're actually at around 110% combat advantage. The tanks are usually running pack tactics, so you get an extra 2% from there. So basically we're a fair bit close to cap than we would normally be if it was just a burn down trial like MSOD. We've got recharge speed on. A lot of people are running movement speed to make it like additionally safe in the maze, but it's going to depend on your level of experience and how confident you are. Obviously once you are confident, we are warlocks, we do have incredibly fast dash ability, but if you're not feeling too confident, then keep the movement speed on. So we're running the same power setup as we were for MSOD for the single target. When we get to an AoE phase, such as like in between phase 1 and 2, switch to more of a AoE loadout. Obviously it's a pain to do when you're in battle because you get locked out for around 9 seconds. But it is worthwhile doing because you get a bit of extra survivability. I also switched to the AoE for the maze. Oh, and as usual, primary daily is Tyrannical Curse. Like if you throw that onto the green boss whilst there's balls up, you can kill all the balls around the green boss via the splash damage. All the master beams are pretty much the same, except we've now made sure that we've got the demonic mastery in there as well. And of course we've got the necrotic mastery too, because I'm sure there's some undead stuff kicking around. And you're probably going to want to put revive sickness on in here. It's still buggy as hell. It's still very annoying. Some of the mechanics are just utterly stupid. If you've got a bard in there, the effects are still desyncing. It's not a very good example of good coding in my opinion. Companions is going to be whatever they put you on. Common DPS ones, Dritz, Tutor. Some people are running Diana, Blue Fire Eye, Etrian, Spine Devil. Obviously your damage potential is going to alter depending on which companion you're running. But particularly and specifically in this dungeon, it's heavily affected by which bosses you start on. So the fire boss has the lowest HP and is also the worst one to even hit on something like a warlock. Perfectly easy for a ranger to hit, but warlocks and wizards and whatnot struggle with it quite a lot. Best boss for a warlock is probably the green one, provided and now I take that back. The green one has the most damage potential because of the balls spawning. The best one for the actual warlock playstyle is probably the ice boss. Just gives you can just settle in, go through your rotation and just smash, smash, smash. I have dropped one of the damage comps on this. This is again just so you've got more stats available to you at the points where you don't have the rest of the companions. So if you wanted to roll the dice, I suppose you could switch this back to a damage companion again, like the Celestial Lion, but that would leave us slightly short on crit strike with this current build. And we've switched from ferocity, switched from providence to ferocity. So ferocity, the reason why providence worked so well for the MSOD build was because everyone was getting hit all the time by that dot damage once you get past a certain phase. So the providence had just every opportunity it possibly could to proc, which is not really the case on this latest one. Like if you rolled the dice again and you got a green, then there's probably enough dot damage going on the green to make it worthwhile running providence. But you can't predict that. So again, it's like occasional god run where everything goes well versus overall consistency. and we're using the Golden Wars again. So that's about it for that build.
No treasure can compare to our friendship.
Now this is the build I will be testing next time I take the Warlock in. And this one just feels a lot more consistent. And we have the Celestial Helm back in, which gives us an extra little boost of recharge speed. And this one feels more consistent stat wise for me. For one thing, we don't need to worry about the ring ramping up because we're using the Rot Steel Coil of Blight. We have pretty consistent 90% accuracy. This one uses Squash Soup. There we go. So this one is slightly lower on the combat advantage. I think it's 4% lower, because obviously it doesn't get that additional pop in from the other combat enchantment. But the consistent accuracy, we still have 2 damage overloads here. And pretty much everything else is the same. Apart from we've got the 9% combat advantage in there. And we are using the Celestial Lightning Flash. So as a general sort of rule, consistent stats are better than inconsistent stats. And I think that this build will outperform the other one, but I haven't had a chance to test this one, which is why I'm not doing a build exclusively on this build, or a video exclusively on this build. Okay, that is it. Hopefully that's relatively short and sweet. I've been saying the wizard in quite a lot recently, so I should be able to get a build up for you for that one as well. Potentially not with the actual celestial weapons on, because that's going to make the 3rd set that I farmed, and it is starting to wear on me, this dungeon, shall we say. Okay guys, please leave a like, please subscribe, thank you for watching, I'll see you in the next one.